Assalamualaikum mbokk yi dal leen ak jàmm ci SeneGambia State of Affairs sur TIA Media man maay seen présentatrice Ndakruma tey dañ leen indil benn gan mi ngi tudd Moustapha Njie moom mooy CEO TAF Africa Global, which is a Pan-African real estate company created in the 90s and present in 8 countries in the African continent, including our beloved Senegal and Gambia. They have a vision to build 1 million affordable houses by 2038. TAF Africa Global, however, is more than just a real estate company. They have created TAF Africa Leadership Africa, TAFCon, and TAF Startup. Mr. Njie, who is the CEO, defined himself as a made-in-Gambia product. He was born and raised there, and today he has built a conglomerate that is known all over our continent. He is truly a pride for the continent, and when we come back after the short break, he will be on our platform. I am super excited to have him, so stay tuned because we have a lot to learn from him.
Imagine owning a home or service plot, enjoying the sunrise and sunset from a beautiful garden, morning hugs and beautiful moments with your loved ones, the never-ending stories, beautiful memories that will last a lifetime, making and sharing great moments with family and friends. You can turn this into a reality. All you need is a TAF home.
Mbokki, welcome back to SeneGambia State of Affairs sur TIA Media. Man maay seen présentatrice Ndakruma. Ak ni ma ko doon waxee ci introduction bi tey we have the pleasure to welcome Mr. Njie, who is the CEO of TAF Africa Global. Mr. Njie, thank you so much for coming to our platform. It is truly a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Dak. Thank you. My pleasure too, and I'm honored.
Awesome. So, Mr. Njie, before ñi dugg ci say business ak yooyu dama bëggoon ñu waxtaan ci kan mooy Mr. Njie. I've seen in a lot of your videos you talk about being a made-in-Gambia product, and this is even more relevant in today's time where we have a lot of our brothers and sisters going back from the diaspora or people from Africa in itself risking their life to go back to Europe in the hope of making a great life out for themselves. So you were born and bred in Gambia, did your education there, and today you built this major conglomerate that is known all over Africa. And when you look at boo xoolee sa jaar-jaar, lan nga mën a wax ne moo tax nga egsi fi nga egsi tey? What is really the key to your success?
Jërëjëf nag kontaan naa trop si invitation bi. I'm very proud and happy for what inviting me onto this platform. Kan mooy Moustapha Njie? Léegi ñu bari TAF lañ ma xamee parce que suma société bi mu ngi tudda suma compagnie bi TAF la tudda. TAF mooy moo gàtt rek pour Moustapha bi Tafa. Waaw maa ngi juddoo Gambie fii laa juddoo Banjul fi mu nekk nii am na 63 years juróom benn fukki at ak ñett léegi ñu ne ma mais yow loolu seet niru loolu de mais am na yu tax ak ay secret yu ne mais fii laa juddoo màggee fii jàngee fii def fi lépp taxawal fi suma société suma compagnie def fi lépp daal ba pare nag commencé nag di ubbeeku di dem si yeneen ay réew parce que dama gëm si affaire yi pan-africanisme gëm ne Afrique ay territoire yi nga xam ne moom lañ xayma nii rek dagg ko dagat du Afrique benn continent la ma gëm loolu nag di ko daw di ko def mais suma jaar soo ko laajtee man fii laa duggee elementary school li ñu wooyee primary school dem ba def suma secondary school moo la ñu wooyee high school loolu maa ngi ko jeexal def suma GCE O level foofu laa em nag si jàng formel biir Gambie fii ma defee suma O level loolu maa ngi ko jeexal 1975 1975 si laa jeexal sama jàng secondary fii nii ma ko jeexee dafa suma O levels mais soo seetee sama background tigi li tax ma doon tey ki ma doon bi ma nekkee lycée muy high school dafa am loo xam ne nit ñi dañ ko tuutal dañ ko xeeb man yàlla nag xiir ma si dama yaakaar ne dimbali yàlla la rek mu xiir ma si mu nekk suma passion mu nekk loo xam ne dama ko bëgg sama xol muy affaire yi menuisier muy carpentry ak affaire yi metal work affaire yi def ay dessin design si ni yëpp may ko def na high school di ko def formally so jamono joojoog léegi am na ay à peu près ay 50 ans 50 years sa ginnaaw la loolu am nag mais même man daal yàlla xiir ma si daal ma bëgg ko daal di ko def ak pleasure ak passion so yàlla def nag ma réussir bu baax a baax bi may jël suma examen ma passe bu baax a baax ba pare commencé nag fala commencé liggéey dama jeexal foofu rek ñu jël ma si école bi may jàngale waat élèves yi xale yi leen jàngal woodwork di leen jàngal woodwork affaire menuisier si man niveau bi ma nekkoon bi loolu passé nag si laa commencé nag di liggéey si société si nga xam ne ak compagnie nga xam ne fii lañ nekkoon fi si njëkkal liggéey mooy benn société boo xam ne ñu koy ooyee Balfour Beatty benn tey même Angleterre ñu foofu lañ cosaanoo ay tubaab lañ woon ñu nekkoon fii Gambie di fi liggéey and during their works I was employed there and trained from day one from scratch from nothing I was trained on the job but I was trained also formally parce que ñu fa nekkoon ñu jàngoon lañ ba kaababal ay ingénieur ay architecte ak yëpp tout mais bi may dugg boobu ma ngi am ay moins de 20 ans li ma am si agul 20 years ma commencé jàng nag mais xam nga looy jàng loo xam ne dafa sedd sa xol da nga ko bëgg da nga siy sawar loolu daal mooy suma jaar-jaar na ma commencé di liggéey ak ay sociétés yu bari ñoo xam ne international lañ yu fi nekkoon ak ñoo xam ne dafa nekkoon ay partnership between Gambians and foreigners ma yéeg nag commencé di yéeg fa laa commencé di yéeg nekk ñu ma njëkk a employ ma nekk engineer assistant di liggéey ingénieur si jógee fa ma nekk assistant engineer nekk engineer nekk site engineer nekk project manager di yéeg daal ñu may yéegal ba société boo mu jël liggéeyal compagnie boo mu jël liggéeyal ba ma koy bàyyi pour taxawal suma société boobu ñu ma jël ma nekk assistant general manager pour gérer société bi yëpp man maa nekkoon ki toppoon si boss bi muy general manager bi fala bàyyee nag loolu maa ngi ko def in 1990 si laa commencé man suma société suma compagnie tuddee ko TAF construction di yëngatu nag si affaire construction si loolu laa nekk nag ba léegi nii dama doon daw maa ngi jógee sama sànce laa jógee moo tax may ñaxani daw parce que loolu laa xam loolu laa gëm loolu lay dund tamit.
Mais su may dégg ngay wax, it's pretty clear that it was really, everything was done step by step. You really took your time. You were not in a rush to become successful. You took your time to learn the trade and get where you are today. So if we're talking really about a lesson is bañ a yàkkamti, jàng, be perseverant until you get where you really have to be.
Yeah, you're right. You see, I tell these young kids all the time that apprenticeship is key in anything that you're doing, in any profession.
Effectively.
I mean, no matter how educated you are formally, you go to the highest universities, there are certain things in life you have to learn. And some of them you develop it yourself. That's why innovation is key. And léegi mun nga am ci gën a kababal si maxaama di la jàngal mais yow yàlla dina la may loo xam ne soo jàkkaarloog liggéey bi rek di si génne yoo xam ne keneen du ko génnee soo gisee tey ñoom Bill Gates ñoom Mike Zuckerberg ñooñu du saa génne jàng moo tax ñu doon ki ñu doon mais dafa am loo xam ne lu nekk si ñoom ñoo ko génnee nit ku nekk nag am na loolu nag yaa ngi koy am su fekkee ne pare ngaa jaar si apprenticeship loolu ñu koy wax si wolof rek mooy ne loo doon taalibeem rek doo doon sëriñam moo tax dafa nécessaire it's absolutely necessary that you go through that apprenticeship so that you can be a master of whatever you're doing.
I like that. I really like that. And thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. The other question that I had was, I saw online as well that you talk about this philosophy that is called the 4 quarters of life. Pour ñi ko xamul, Mr. Ndiaye dana ni que sa vie danga koy diviser en 20 ans, 4 périodes de 20 ans. Ci chaque 20 ans you have different drives, different needs, different requirements, and it really decides how you go and live your life. For most of our audience and for myself, I'm in the 2nd quarter of my life, between 20 and 40. So based on what you know today and what you've learned throughout these years of experience, what advice do you have for us being in our 2nd quarter of our life? What advice you wish you had when you were in this time in your life, knowing what you know today as well?
Well, my advice is the 2nd quarter. Let me just rush quickly so that for the audience, they will understand the 4 quarters of life, what I define as the 4 quarters of life. I mean, I believe strongly that life, I divide it into, is 80. At 80 years, really, think about it. You don't have much left. You know, some disagree, but you know, for me, I mean, 80, I think it's a good score, you know, in life. So divide that by 4, meaning you have 4 quarters: 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and then 60 to 80. And now 0 to 20, really, whatever you do, it must have been done by somebody else. Your parents, your guardians, your whoever, you know, that help you, you know, to try and complete your education. You are the molding stage, they're molding you. Then between 20 and 40, you should have finished your molding, finished your education, but you are just starting life. That's when life begins. So obviously the reason why it's key to advise people like yourself at this age, that you seem to be having so much energy, yakamti, especially in this day and age. So go say, oh, keep making the correct. Okay, lulu, hamna c'est rare, hein? So say ñi nga xamné ci bir bracket bi ñoo dé réussir, ñoo dé tekki, ñoo dé succeed. Bari wuñ. Ñoo di absolute minority. Mais ñëpp seen bot ci ñooñ lañ nekk. Mais gisoo kii bi mu amee 25 ans rek ci la nekk milliardaire. Mais ñu bari wuñ. ñu tuuti lañ. So moo tax c'est very important, and that in this age you focus. You should make sure that, okay, di nga def erreur, di nga def mistakes, loolu is normal in life. But be focused. Da nga ne man lii laa bëgg a def, man da I'm into media, lii laa bëgg a def, dinaa ko jànga, dinaa def nanka, dinaa wax ñi ma si jiitu, dinaa leen déglu, dinaa am innovation. Xam nga dafa am yoo xam ne ay values yoo xam ne da nga ko war a développer sa bopp.
Effectivement.
Li ma def nii lu ma neex la. Duma nekk fii rek tey I want to be a media personnel, tomorrow I want to be an engineer, the day after I want to be, you know, a Quranic scholar. You must try to be focused. But failure is part of success. So that would no joke. If you cannot rise if you haven't fallen down. And there's nobody who has succeeded who's not fallen. So therefore, failure should be something that you must be able to accept and embrace, so that, you know, you can learn from it and then you can rise. So my advice really for people of this bracket is that, look, life can be a very long marathon, whilst on the other hand, it can be a very short one too. You know, but for me, life is a marathon. It's not a 100-meter dash. You know, so therefore, in a marathon, what is important is that you finish the race. Yes, there are people that when they finish, they take first, second, third. But really, marathon, if you finish it, you have a certificate. And that is what life is about. Life is not about just rushing and trying to get something fast. You know, that's not life. So my advice really, focusing on your question, is that you need to be focused. You need to have a passion for what you're doing. You need to be disciplined. You know, you need to be able to accept failure. You must be able to learn from others. There are so many things that you can embrace at this age, but I'll just start with those few. So that's my advice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndiaye. So just to continue with this discussion, I strongly believe as well, as you said as well, failure is part of it, but I strongly believe that success comes sometimes as well with controversy. It is something that you cannot escape, and you have been yourself not spared from such events. So I am not going to go back into the details because I've seen many of your interviews in which you talked about the issue around the Brufut land. However, what I would really like to touch upon is if you could really go back in time, was there anything you wish you would have done at that time that you didn't? Going back again with the story of learning from our mistake and learning from failures. I don't even think we can label that as a failure, but there were some controversies around that. And is there anything you wish you would have done differently looking back?
No, I wouldn't. I will do it the same way because, look, you learn from it. It's part of a process.
Absolutely.
And I'm still learning. I mean, I am still engaged in development and land issues come together. If I tell you now, we have some land that legally we have bought. We have exchanged money for land, whatever, but it comes with controversies. Actually, going back to the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the issues with Israel and the Palestine is all about land. Land comes with controversy. So if you don't want to take the controversy and do the right thing, please don't get into the business. Today in the whole world, there's nowhere that you are going to set up any major development without some people protesting one way or the others. You see it in England, for example, when they want to extend the runway in Gatwick, it will be partition. Every time there's a development, that comes with life. So if you are scared of controversies, then please sit at home and don't do any work. And this is life, the life that we are living in. Life comes with some controversies. We have to live with it. But you must do things mainly to one's conscience. And my conscience has always led me. So whatever I have done in the past from a very beginning, my conscience is very clear that I am doing the right thing. And I think in all the things that I have done it, within my control rightfully. People have their opinion, they have their views. I'm not stopping it. But what is really important for me, my conscience, and that one, the legality of it. Because look, we all get judged. So if you have an issue with me on anything that you feel I have done wrong, please, there is somebody who will sit there to judge that this is right or this is wrong.
That's true, I guess.
So that's where I rest my case. On anything that I do, that comes with controversies, if you feel that I have hurt you, what do? You take me to court. Say, look, this car is mine, but Mr. Njai is claiming the car. So this is my evidence that I own the car. And if you really own the car, if you go to the courts will give it to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much on that, Mr. Njai. Now I want us to talk a little bit about the real estate market, and especially the real estate market in Senegal and in Gambia. So I know that those two markets are quite different, and I would just want you to talk to our viewers about what are the key differences that you see between Senegal and Gambia when we look at the real estate market. From my perspective, I can already see that houses are built differently in those two countries. So if you could really share your knowledge a little bit more about what do you see are the key differences between those two markets? Are the customers needing different things, requiring different things? Could you just talk about that a little bit more, please?
Okay, housing is like any commodity. Actually, because of my involvement in housing across Africa and the globe, I get engaged in issues like this about housing and the issue of affordable housing. You have to understand that our specialty is in affordable housing. So we have done a lot of research. We are being consulted at different levels on affordable housing. I mean, it's something of concern to every government, regardless of where you are. It's politically very sensitive. It's a human right to put a roof over people's head. And so for us, we have a very huge vision on developing affordable housing. Now, the word affordability is very vague.
Indeed.
And that's what I think when people know, how do we define affordable housing? I say, well, affordable housing or anything that's affordable, I mean, it's affordable to the person that has got a price to pay for it. So if I want to build a house for $1 million, and that has $1 million to buy it, then it's affordable to her. And then if I want to build a house for somebody that can only pay $10,000, then that's affordable to her. But in general, these are policies and definitions that are formulated by bodies and governments. So when I say a body, for example, in Africa, we know about Shelter Africa. I don't know how much you know them. Shelter Africa is a housing finance institute and owned by an institution owned by, about 40-something African countries. So with this, Africa, they are trying to define, affordable housing. What is affordable housing? And then governments also have a responsibility, to deliver affordable housing to its citizens. So Senegal, for example, let me tell you Senegal what they have done. They are very advanced. They are very advanced in the policy, in housing delivery policy. It's one of the most advanced countries in Africa.
Interesting.
Because in Senegal, if you go there, they will tell you that an F1, F2, F3, F4, and then there are specifications for all those. So we can affordable housing la. Li nga xamne pour ñi nga xamne dañ xala néew doole. Ñu seen néeg nii la war a mel. Warta am carreau, warta am fenêtre yu mel nii, warta am cuisine bu nekk si biir, warta am toilette fii. Néeg bi nii la war a am, warta passé 40 mètres carrés. Mais prix bi tamit warta passé tel. Bon nga xam ne ñoom def nañ all the policies loolu dafa important trop nga xam ne dañuy am loo xam ne moo laa guide policies yi nii moo laa guide ne la li nii la war a mel mais prix bi nii la war a mel yokk si tamit nga yokk si nguur gi dañuy def ay policies yoo xam ne yooyu tam dafay dimbale ki nga xam ne mooy promoteur bi mooy ki nga xam ne mooy tabax ne la ok parce que ngir dañ bugg a dimbale ñi néew doole am na taxe yoo xam ne yow doo ko fay terrain bi suñ la koy jox suuf si suñ la koy jox ni lañ la koy joxee pour mu yomb pour yow ndax nga mun a jël loolu nga jox ko tamit ñi nga xam ne dañ ñëw doole loolu mooy affordable housing mais am na dëkk yoo xam ne defuñ ko par exemple Gambie defuñ ko Gambie amul benn policy boo xam ne dafa taxaw si affaire yi affordable housing toujours damay dégg xam nga man si internet bi man si toujours mais all the time I hear people saying oh no your houses are too small or your houses are too expensive. Mais loolu yëpp dafa des ci ki koy wax. It all depends on the guy who's saying it. But there is no clear policy that has been set in the Gambia to say that, look, if you want an affordable house of this size, that's the price it should be, and these are the specifications. So privately, as a developer, as the leading developer, South Africa being the leading developer in the Gambia, we have now set our own standards based on price and quality. And we thank God that the demand is there. Pastor, if you look at the housing really in Africa, Gambia, Senegal, in general, housing in Africa, those in the diaspora like yourself and others are the people who are financing it, like the economy of our countries. 22% of our GDP is contributed by the diaspora. Ñoy jënd kër yi, ñoy pay xarit tabaski, ñoy yóbbu nit ñi Makka. Everything ñoom ñoo koy def. So therefore, they are the market. There's a big market. So ñun suñ kër yi ñuy bari ñu ko dee jënda mooy ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi si diaspora bi. Mais suñ ko jëndee du ko dee jënd rek pour seen boppa mais dañ koy jënd pour seen famille yi nga xam ne ñu ngi dëkk fii ni Gambie. Bon ñoom dañoo benefit. Leneen tamit loo xam ne ñun dañ si focus mooy we are not only focusing in the delivery of housing, but we are also focused in creating employment. Because ñun li ñuy liggéey yëpp soo ko bàyyee xel ay Gambien ñoo koy liggéey ay doomi réew mi ñoo koy liggéey. So therefore am du saa génne àddina si amul fenn foo xam ne affaire kër affaire housing is affordable to all loolu amul fenn fu am si àddina si. Am na ñoo xam ne dinañ dund ba dee duñu am kër àddina si yëpp la amul benn dëkk booy taxaw nga ne ñëpp am nañ kër mais nguur gi nañ dimbale pour suñu dara nga mun a luye bi gën a yomba mais li ñuy focus mooy pour dimbale suñu réew ak doon africain mooy ne nañ taxawal ay liggéey yoo xam ne tamit doomi réew mi dinañ ci mun a liggéey loolu dafa important and that is one employment creation so create employment nga create wealth ba pare nga wàññi poverty so yii ni yëpp ñun dafa bokk ci yoo xam ne ñu ngi koy liggéey mais différence bi rek pour wax sa question directly and summarize ko mooy Senegal it's very advanced in housing policy development, especially affordable housing, and Gambia is non-existent. So Gambia, the government needs to work on setting up the right policies for housing delivery.
Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Ndiaye. Avant ñuy continuer, juste comme ni nga ko waxee léegi, Sénégal seen policy dafa xaw a avancé comparé ak Gambia. Mais ba tey TAF Africa am na vision wu build 1 million affordable houses. Kon bu ñu xoolee ci sa vision boobu, lan mooy sa stratégie pour nga def loolu en Gambie? Parce que xam naa ne ni que booy tabax kër, booy tabax projet, évidemment, there is the land cost involved, the material cost, and so on. Obviously, we are not aware of all the costs involved, but from just a high level. So if TAF Africa Global a l'intention de build affordable houses in Gambie, quelle est votre stratégie? Margin? Are people going to compromise on quality? What is really your strategy to make it happen, at least in Gambia and Senegal?
Okay, now let's start with Gambia. In Gambia, our strategy to develop, we are very much committed to deliver affordable housing without compromising the quality.
That's a very good point, I think, that the viewers...
Yeah,
sorry.
It's affordable quality. So therefore, so bugay def quality ba pare nga bëgg mu affordable. The only place bi ngay mëna laal mooy size bi. Parce que nim gëna yaatu rek prix bi gëna cher. C'est normal. Suma bëggoon a bir benn kër boo xam ne kër bi mu ngay nekk 200 mètres carrés 200 square meters boobu dafay nekk xëy na prix bi dafay nekk $100,000 $100,000 for example but naturally su ma ko wàññee mu nekk 100 mètres carrés kon dafay nekk moitié bi dafay nekk half so ñun liñ def mooy dañ def research bu baax a baax ñu bàyyi xel ne ban size kër moom la nit mun a dëkka mu comfortable si ñun seen nag suñ cosaan parce que ñun tey la rek yéen xaleel ngeen mais ñun ñi ngay gis ni suñ famille par exemple man bi may juddu sama papa ak sama yaay si ñaari chambre lañ juddoo ñaari chambre yoo xam ne benn bu si nekk passé wul sax 10 mètres carrés bon 20 mètres carrés lañ nekk dëkk ñun 11 waxuma la ñu dellu ci loolu de ñun 11 famille boo xam ne 11 personnes noonu lañ dëkkee tey ma dem ba taxaw doon ki ma doon keneen nit noonu keneen nit noonu keneen nit noonu xam nga léegi dafa am loo xam ne dafa am ñu bari ñoo xam ne dañuy wax kër gi dafa tuuti dafa lii dafa lele soo duggee si kër yu rëy yooyu yëpp nit ñi duñ fa nekk sax benn jëkkër jabar la ak ñaari doom ñun loolu benn tey ñi ko mun a afford amuñ ci benn problème ñu mun a afford loolu nañ ko def ko am sa xaalis su la neexee nga jënd Rolls Royce sa problème la su bëggee jënd sac ndax su bëggee am xaalisam dem Louis Vuitton sa problème la yaa ko moom mais nag ñi nga xam ne nag seen loxo jotul seen ginnaaw dafa am lu ñu war a def pour ñu mën a jot loolu soo ñun suñu stratégie mooy léegi xam ne ñu nguur gi duñ ñu jox suuf nguur gi amuy suuf buñ joxe soo ñun dañ commencé di jënda dañoo dem si ñi nga xam ne communauté bi ñi nga xam ne ñoo amee suuf si ñoo ko moom suñ ko jëndee am na procédure fu ñu war a jaar suuf si comme lépp si àddina si rek lu nit moom njëg lay xaar ku am xaalisam su ko fayee kooku jox ko lim ko war a jox nga moom ko léegi suñu stratégie mooy dañoo génn si place bi nga xam ne fa nit ñi di gën a ko dëkka mooy fi nga xam ne fu nekk nii am na value ba pare comme soo xamee Gambie bu baax soo ne Burfoot bi da nga ne Kër Serigne bi da nga ne even léegi ay yundum ak yooyu su fi bëgg a jënd suuf dafay cher it's expensive so what do we target areas yoo xam ne développé guñ ko foo xam ne value bi dafa wàcca ñu jëm feeg léegi ñu commencé di jënd yooyu suñ ko jëndee am na process boo xam ne dañ ko war a topp dañu war a dem si alkaali bi mu vérifier ko mu seet check ne lii correct na ñu dem si chief bi dem si area council bi dem si ministre bi am na procédure bu gudda booy jaar suñ si jaaree ñu def li ñu war a def yëpp fay li ñu war a fay yëpp mais suñ ko jëndee léegi def fa suñ ay cité balaa nit ñi di dem bay egg foofu dina fekk soo ko jëndee léegi prix bi mun a wàcc mais su ma bëggee jënd suuf soo xam ne fi mu nekk prix bi yéeg na ba pare naturally price bi dafa yéeg so loolu mooy benn suñu stratégie make sure ne ñu banque laan bi ñu jënd ko si yoon teg ko si yoon jënd ko moom ko def ko bu ndax bu prix bi yéeg That's one. Number two, you said design. Design bi seet lan moo xam ne daal absolutely noonu la nit soxla pour dëkk ci kër yéen a ngi dëkk Angleterre ku nekk xam ne seen kër yi dañ tuuti nekk ci dañ tuuti ku nekk xam ne loolu léegi lal sax lu fa xëcc mais li ma jaaxal ci yéen ndax yow li gën a on fekk nen mooy yow laa jàkkaar loolu lépp yow laa koy sotti li ma gën a jaaxal ci yéen mooy da ngay dëkk Angleterre dëkk si néeg boo xam ne 8 feet la by 2 feet nga dëkk sa àddina yëpp mais soo ñëwee Gambie mi leen nekk Afrique nga ne non boobu nga am benn chambre boo xam ne 100 mètres carrés la war a noonu la war a yem.
mais monsieur Ndiaye boo dëkkee ci condition yooyu liggéey ba sonn war boobu ñibbisee kay tu as le droit de am dëkk ci genre condition yooyu looloo tax ñu nekk fii di liggéey di ñàkk tous les jours au moins suñu ñibbee mun a dëkk ci condition yu baax voilà.
mais am nga si problème mais su fekkee ne am nga xaalis am nga njëgam xam nga loolu kat ci war a wax naa la ko léegi nii. xam nga soo duggee xam nga Angleterre foofu. am na saak yoo xam ne yaa ngi ko jëndee Primark. du dëgg.
dëgg la
am na saak yoo xam ne Louis Vuitton ngay dugga du dëgg bi ne gauche nit ku nekk li nga am ngay duggee si marché bi mais li may wax mooy in general ku nekk xam na loolu xam na am na yenn stores yoo xam ne mënuloo faa dugga du saa gën ne ñëpp ñoo mën a dugga Louis Vuitton.
man de dama koy romb rek duma fa sax dugg damay romb rek.
waaw doo fa jaar sax doo jaar Old Bond Street. mais am na ñoo xam ne nag dañoo am njëgi Primark déet dama bëgg a néeg bu mel ni Louis Vuitton loolu mënut a am ba pare xam nga li gën a garaaw mooy nga teg man toxol bi ne kii dafa cher mais man cheruma man damay xam nga component yi building sooy build dara ñun wax naa léegi da ngay jënd suuf dem jënd matériel bi yëpp ñun moomuñ ko da nga koy jënd da ngay fay manœuvre fay ñi koy liggéey soo paree nga fay ay taxes yow ay dam si teg rek ay margin bu tuuti rek mais nag man maa koy defar so in terms of strategy our strategy is one to make sure we start to get affordable land and if you want to get affordable land in this country now it's probably Brikama and beyond but you know the next thing is you want to sell somebody I have a land in Piram I'm doing this or in Faraba it's too far xam nga so that's one of the problems we have dafa sori mais lu tax mu sori mooy loolu tax mun a affordable that's one so ñu fàttali affaire land bi secondly ñu ngi seet size néeg bi ñaan ñun fi mu nekk nii néeg yi gën a tuuti yi ñu defar dem na ba nekk sax ay 45 mètres carrés après 49 mètres carrés 49 square meters deux chambres benn salon benn toilette ak cuisine nga commencé fa mais that's about roughly like 50 square meters su fekkee ne kañ da nga bëgg a néeg rek nga am sa difin bu ndaw pàkk bi ñun ñu ngi koy def léegi dem nañ ba ay à peu près 200 mètres carrés pour land bi 200 mètres carrés loolu su fekkee Sénégal la loolu luxe c'est luxe Sénégal da ngay am ay terrain yoo xam ne 90 mètres carrés la mais Gambie fii soo ñëwee soo bëggee jox nit 100 mètres carrés du ko may sax du ko jël xam nga loolu tamit naa si dem si kanam tuuti so one ñu seet design bi make sure ne comfortable na enough pour famille dëkk fa so su fekkee ne da nga commencé rek nga sëy bees yaa sa jëkkër rek ngay dëkk si 2 chambres salon ba pare su leen yokkoo am yi di yokku xam nga ngeen commencé di yokku so am nañ 50 square meters am nañ 60 square meters am nañ 70 square meter am nañ 90 square meter am nañ 100 square meter am nañ 120 square meter ba pare ñu stop 133 ñun li ñuy sampa duñ dee sampa pour borom alal yi because ñun affordable house li ñoo sampa so li ñuy sampa du dee passé 133 square meter
for the affordable houses
naam
for the affordable houses
yes ñun fa ñuy def lu affordable ñun duñ def lu affordable loolu mooy suñu spécialité soo seetee Gambie fi mu nekk nii bu njëkk ba dañ ko daan def mais dafa am loo xam ne loolu mooy suñu spécialité soo ko bëgg a jënd kër yu gën a rëy xam nga am nga sa xaalis ñeneen ñu ngi jaay demal foofu rek jarul amul coow ñun lii lañ dessiné ne ñun lii la ñuy jaay bañ tey rek exemple yi ma lay woon rek mooy exemple yi Primark ak Louis Vuitton Primark seen stratégie ou seen policy ou lu ñoo jaayee mooy ne ñun dañ bëgg lu yomba xam nañ ñu dëgërul mais dañ koy def pour ñu néew doole soo ñu néew doole fa la ñuy jublu ñeneen ñi nga xam ne am nañ xaalis bi nag mun nañ koo def ne man kat bëgguma jëndal lu néew loo xam ne pour ñu néew doole la dama bëgg lu cher lu mel nii loolu tam nga dem def ko marché moo mel noonu soo demee marché ne jëndi yàpp nag bu suñ ko reyee ak ñi am na ñoo xam ne si mbàq yi ak bu si li ñu mën a afford ñu la ñuy jënda ñi la jënda res ñi la jënda beefsteak ñi la jënda steak ñi la jënda filet ñi la jënda T-bone loolu mooy àddina mais toujours problème bi ñuy am mooy nit ñi dañuy toog rek jàpp ne non Mr Ndiaye crème bi day cher mais ñun loolu du suñ coobaree ñun suñu gënal li ñu gënal loolu mooy li ñuy samp ñun dañuy jaay nit ñi di jënda li ñu gënal mooy kañ luñ jaay nit ñi mën ko jënda. So this is our strategy to develop. We want to develop 10,000 houses over the next 5 years, actually, 10,000. So those 10,000, in order to be able to achieve it, we make sure that we get affordable land, then we make sure that the material, the design is right, is affordable, the materials, good quality, but affordable. You know, and then obviously labor, because labor is getting expensive in this country. But so we have to import labor. Can you believe that?
We have to import labor to come and work in Gambia.
In Gambia today you import labor. There's no labor in the country.
Monsieur Ndiaye dagguma la foofu nañ pause foofu mbokk yi dégg ngeen lu mu wax. We have to import labor to come and work in Gambia, and you've heard about his strategy as well to build affordable houses. So we will come back shortly after a short break. Thank you so much. We are back here on SeneGambia State of Affairs with Mr. Ndiaye. Mr. Ndiaye, just following up to our previous conversation, obviously there is a lot of information available regarding TAF Africa global activities in Gambia, but not so much in Senegal. So could you just shed some light on what is really happening in Senegal?
Okay, in Senegal, actually, I'll give you a background. I started going into Senegal since 2005. And when Ablaye Wade was there. And in Senegal, I started with what they call Solidar. Solidar was in Diamniadio, and they were mostly on warehouses. And I invested in some warehouses there, and then mostly thinking about, yes, development and housing. And since then, I have set up a company there called TAF Africa, TAF Senegal Homes. I have had some partnership with some developers. But I will be very frank that we haven't done much in Senegal. I have bought some properties, a little development. We did a block of apartments in Point 1 a long time ago, but it's not, for me, Senegal is a tough terrain for me.
Why?
But the French system is difficult from the English system.
Okay.
The French system is very bureaucratic, and I find it difficult to navigate. And obviously the language, their system of working, for me, is very difficult. So I haven't done much there, but personally, Senegal is a second home for me. I have my own house there, I have family there. And yes, I hope one day I will be able to break the ground. Actually, I have been invited by the Senegalese government because they have an initiative to develop 100,000 houses. Sami Lozma, that was launched by President Sall, about 2 years ago in his second term. And we're talking to the Minister of Urbanism, that's Minister, what's his name again? The Minister of Urbanism, I'll remember his name. Anyway, we're talking to them. They want us to get engaged, but I will tell you honestly, it's too bureaucratic for me, very bureaucratic. I can survive in Nigeria, but it's difficult to survive in Senegal for me.
Well, I really hope that will change in the short term, because I think the Senegalese public as well can really benefit from your affordable houses. The struggle is shared across Africa, as you just mentioned. And you mentioned as well, obviously, that you're very active in Nigeria. So it is sort of your second biggest market outside of Gambia, or is it even your biggest market?
It is the biggest market for me. I mean, Nigeria, for example, you need to understand as an African, especially in West Africa, that the population of Nigeria is half the whole of West Africa. It's about 200 million people, and the population of West Africa is roughly about 400 million. And in terms of wealth, the GDP of Lagos alone is bigger than maybe 7 African countries put together. So there's a big market in Nigeria. And I was fortunate, like in life, you can be lucky. I was invited by the River State government to enter into a PPP project with them. And we did a massive project there. I mean, huge in all senses, and it's a 1,200, family homes in terms of volume of money, about $160 million project. Just moving to build on the land, because it's a massy land, we had to sand fill from the river to pump about 850,000 cubic meters of sand. Imported materials alone, we imported from China and in England too, about 1,200 containers, just for finishing materials. So if I should tell you the size, how big it was. And again, I moved just labor. I moved 400 Gambians and Senegalese across the land from Senegal and Gambia to Nigeria.
Well, that sounds like a big project, but still, Mr. Ndiaye, we have to find a solution to penetrate the Senegalese market, because we need those affordable houses. So
we're talking to the minister is Abdul Karim Fofana. Now I remember the name. He's the Minister of Urbanism. We're talking to him and his team. But honestly, my point about Senegal is the bureaucracy is too much. Too bureaucratic. Dans le pays francophone, il y a beaucoup de bureaucratie.
Waa gouvernement du Sénégal, dégg ngeen lu Mr. Ndiaye di wax, bàyyi leen ci xel. Okay, Mr. Ndiaye, we're going to move on now with, obviously, TAF Africa Global, as I mentioned even in my introduction, is just more than real estate. It's just more than a real estate company. You have, as you mentioned, TAF Africa Foundation, and through that you have created TAF Leadership Africa, TAFCon, and TAF Startup. So dama bëgg rek ñu waxtaan ci TAFCon avant ñuy dem ci yeneen endeavour yi. Pour ñi ko xamul nag, TAFCon benn annual conference la buy am en Gambie, réunir policy makers at market players yi pour ñu come up with solutions. My question to you, Mr. Ndiaye, is have you actually do you have any success stories for us regarding what has been really materializing from TAFCon? Because what happened even in this country, even in the UK, we go to conferences, we talk about issues, but nothing really follow up. And countries like Senegal and Gambia, finding solutions are even more pressing. So I was just wondering if you have any success stories to share with us regarding things that have materialized from these conferences that you held annually.
Okay, first you need to understand why we are doing this. What is the objective of it? It's called TAFCon conferences and networking event. And that is why we target, a period when people from the diaspora also are home. Generally people in the diaspora, they come home around Christmas. So normally TAFCON is held around the 27th of December. So you're home, obviously when you're home is for pleasure, seeing family, but also you have time, to come together and speak about issues. And as you said, and that there are quite a number of people like yourselves who are there, yes, in the diaspora, but you have your mind in coming back home. If you want to come home, you want a soft landing. You want to learn from people like us. Okay, Mr. Njai, how was it that you navigated to do this? How was it that, okay, I'm interested in agribusiness. Is there a Gambian like myself or probably a bit older that I can network with who will guide me on what I want to do? So in the conference, we choose topics that is relevant to policymakers, that is relevant to people from the diaspora, that is relevant to those who are locally operators. So when they come in, it's not a talk shop. We don't only talk about it. We bring speakers, obviously, to inspire mainly the young ones. And once it is done, the rest is networking. We network, we talk to each other. So it's a meeting point. You've seen that a lot of people, I even know that somebody was employed at TAFCON. The late Draman Toure, Draman Toure, he's late, he was one of the speakers. There was somebody who he employed at TAFCON, somebody who was working in the diaspora and actually decided there and then that I'm going to move home. I'm going to go back, pack my things and come. So what we do really, we bring employers, policymakers, and also mainly people from the diaspora who will come, one, share their experiences. That, okay, here is Ndak, I want to talk about media. This is the way I am doing it in England. Or this is the way you guys are doing it in Gambia. What can I learn from you? What can you learn from me? So that has been very successful. And within TAFCON, obviously, that's when we do the startups. That's when we choose the TAF icon, so many things. And then we have booths to display, the made in Gambia products, which have been done by young Gambians. So all the finalists, normally the finalists at the TAF startups are 10 in number. So we give them a booth to come and display what they are doing. So the success story is some of them, they have clients from there. For example, I know about smart cleaning also. One guy, Abbas, was one of our winners. Today, he's bought a van. He cleans for us. He does industrial cleaning, domestic cleaning, and a lot of people are using him. There's the first winner of the Star Prize. That was our Jangha also. Our. She's her apparel. She's expanded her tailoring shop, and now people are even ordering online. So we expose the underexposed, so that's what we do. So it has been very, very successful.
That is really a great success stories, not just one, obviously, that you shared with us. Could you tell to our viewers as well, what is TAF Startup? Could you explore a little bit on that? And I've heard in some of your interviews as well, where you talked about you are planning to sort of initiate TAF Diaspora Startup. So yes, please tell us a little bit more, because I'm sure that the viewers would love to hear about it.
Yeah, look, TAF status ma wax la ci olof rek xam nga ku jóg da nga bëstandiku ku jóg da nga bëstandiku
dëgg la
just imagine soo toogatee rek yaa ngi taxaw fu nekk mais man su ma bëggoon a jóg fu mu nekk fu ma jaar ma teg suma loxo ci suuf and go up. Loolu what it means in English simply is that you need a support. Everybody who's starting in life needs a support. So for me, because I am in my last quarter, one of the things I want to work on is my legacy. How do I now, if I am seen to be successful, how do I support these young ones, people like yourselves, to be like me or even beyond me? And that's my mission now. So that's why I set up TAF startups. That look, there are some young people who are there, who wants to succeed and who's got the capability to succeed, but they need some help. So we took these prizes, the star prize is $1 million. Second prize is about $750,000. $500,000. His start price, I think, is 500,000. Maybe I've got it wrong, or 500 and then 250, something like that. Now, then we give you the prize, and then we mentor you. We mentor you to set up. Now, initially, what we do is age bracket. It's only between 18, I think, and 30. That's the age bracket. So you have to be young. Secondly, you have to register a business. It's not just an idea, because ideas are cheap. A lot of people have a lot of ideas, but you must have been seen to have started something on your own. Starting, at least you register a business. If you don't register a business, you cannot be in business. So there are conditions that we have. Now, after that, we open it up. When we open it up, we have judges that we have appointed who are very independent of us. They have nothing to do with us, but they have volunteered, because they are successful entrepreneurs, both male and female, and about that age bracket, a bit older, who volunteer to be judges. And they set up all their criteria and how they judge them. So now you put in the entries, and there's a process you follow. There's an elimination process. The first entries we had were over 100, and then they will eliminate and go down to the last 10. Now, we always have the last 10 finalists. And once you get into that bracket, you will get at least $1,000.
That's
so
a really good support.
10, you get $1,000. That's guaranteed. And then now the star prize, the three of them, the star prize, I think you get $20,000 as a star prize. And then the second one, you get $10,000. And then the third one, you get $5,000. So that's what Tough Startup is. And we're just hoping that if we do this annually, in the next 5 years, you would have started at least those 10 by 5 is 50 good entrepreneurs who have been pushed to start. And I think that is the thing that can change Africa. Africa cannot be changed by just going to take loans and aid to build roads and bridges. No. We must invest in the youth and empower them on SMEs to be independent by themselves. That is what is going to change this continent.
I must say, Mr. Njai, I am truly inspired by what you are saying, because it's clear that you share the vision of many Africans in the diaspora like myself, and what you're doing for SeneGambians is really to applaud. So if we talk a little bit about the Tough Diaspora Startup, so do you have plan to bring that program in countries such as the UK? And when you look at as well a startup that you wish to invest into, are you looking at startup that actually solve an African problem, a SeneGambia problem? Because what you don't want as well is to have an entrepreneur that comes up with the solution that really is relevant to the West and not our own country. So is that a key criteria as well when you look at startup to invest in?
Yes, off the cuff, for me, when I do all these things, I have my ideas, I float them, but I always work with a team. And the teams I work with at times, they're not even working with me tough, or they don't have any solid connection with me. I float it up because I am trying to address issues of a nation. So I bring everybody on board. Anybody that can add value, they come on board. And the idea really came up last year. I made a tour of Scandinavia. And I met some very young people, and they spoke about these things, very talented. And they are also interested in coming back home and seeing how they contribute. Because what I noticed was that some of your young people like yourself, they are very connected to their origin, where they came from. But they have been born in the West. That's where they live. That's where everything is. But they are conscious of it. So really, whatever we do must be relevant to SeneGambia, relevant to Africa. Yes, you have been trained in the West. You have developed this. You want to do X, Y, and Z. But how can we create a competition that's somebody who has been trained from the diaspora, wants to now come and do something that will now, add value in the lives of people back home. That's one of the conditions. We will develop it. Actually, by now, it should have been on, but as you know, with COVID, everything just slowed down. But it is something that we would really like to make happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much on that, Mr. Njai. One of my last questions as well. I've seen recently actually on your Instagram page that you started this project called Gaitaf Economic Zone. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay.
Yes, Gaitaf,
and
yes.
For the audience, for you, if you don't know about Gaitaf, it's basically meant to be a 160-hectare business park built in the Gambia through public and private partnership between the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency and TAF Africa Global. So I saw in the promotion video that you plan on building eco-friendly buildings, including renewable energies as part of the development, and which honestly is to applaud given the current climate that we are in. But really, because you define yourself as a pan-African real estate company, the one question that comes to my mind is, do you plan on partnering with local developers? Because that is a big endeavor to have. And what is really the strategy to bring that project into conclusion? That's one. And before even we dive into that, maybe just share with the audience what is really this new Gaitaf Economic Zone business park that you plan on building.
Yeah, okay. As you said, you made the introduction already, 160 hectares. In terms of development, it is divided into segments of industrial park. We're going to have an industrial park there. And in the industrial park, it's mainly for manufacturing. So one, we manufacture, which is very important for Africans to do. And by bringing industries and manufacturing, you create employment. And then we're going to have a commercial area. In the commercial area, you're going to have a retail center, a petrol station, an airport hotel, an office park, a clinic, a training center, and showrooms. That's in the commercial area. Then we're going to have also an area for logistics and warehouses. So people can bring bulk and store them without paying duties and then break them down, then re-export. So that's what the composition is. Now, in terms of value, always it's important to know the value. By the time the park is ready, which is the next 10 years, it's a 10-year project, it's $330 million. And it's 100% Gambian. And that's really where my heart is. That's why I'm proud of this. Because most of these figures and most of these projects, when you hear them, they are synonymous, excuse me for this, with white people.
Absolutely.
Oh, you have an investor. Investors are synonymous to white. And that's what people like us are fighting. That look, these guys have the same brains that we have. Where they go and get the money, we know where it is. I can talk to the IFC. I can talk to the ADB. I can talk to the IDB. There are multilateral institutions, financial institutions that we can equally access. And that's what we do. There are even local financial institutions that we can access. So we have built capacity to be able to access this. So we are going to raise financing, of that value. Now, because it's Pan-African, we are proud to say that it is purely Pan-African built. Actually, when we start now, I just came back from the site. That was why I was sweating. In November, I'm going to delegate it to the female folks, all the women that are engaged in this project. We just signed the roadworks. The roadworks were signed last week. It was signed with a female-owned road construction company, Bajam. Bajam is owned by Mrs. Marimbai, and she's doing roadworks with machinery and everything. And two things that we always bear in mind. One, it must be first Gambian. Then, if we don't have the expertise, we look into Senegal or the sub-region. So it's purely Pan-African. And then I am very concerned about gender equality. Making sure wherever I have the female folks who can do it, I will give them a chance over the male. So that's one. Surveyors on site now, I have female. The lady who does Kumba, all our billboards you see, all our marketing, everything is being done by her. So I want to expose what this project is all about. That everything we do, first we look local. If we cannot get it, even when we have experts from outside doing this work, we make sure they partner with the local company. So we build capacity. So that's what the Gaitaf is all about. And again, encouraging manufacturing and addressing the needs of the country with standards. The Gaitaf, when it's built, it will be as good as the Jebel Ali free zone in Dubai. That's our standards. We don't compromise on our standards. We don't have to lower our standards because we are in the Gambia. That's what I stand for. That's what TAF stands for. And yes, I can be black in color. I can be born in the Gambia, but my products are as good as what you find in New York or in London or in Dubai. And as Africans, if we don't think like this, we cannot move our continent ahead.
Absolutely, Mr. Njai. I mean, I will repeat it one more time. This is true inspiration. I hope that the audience will really learn from Mr. Njai, but at the same time, get inspiration from it so that we as SeneGambian do what is needed as well to bring our countries forward. Mr. Njai, this is the end of the interview. However, is there anything else you would like to add? I will repeat again that it was truly an honor to have you on this platform. We have learned a lot, myself and the audience, and we really wish you all the best in all your future endeavors.
Well, first to thank you, thank you for hosting me on this interview. And also Mr. Marong. Mr. Marong, actually, I've never met him in person, but he's been after me and he looks at my graphics and everything. That's who we are as Gambians, as Senegalese. I would like to just touch on just some few things that, let's try as Africans, as Senegambians to be positive. Today in this world, there's social media, especially in SeneGambia. I mean, because I am truly African, and I travel across the length and breadth of Africa. I have been to 36 African countries. I have met so many African presidents, so many African prime ministers, so many African ministers and dignitaries and ordinary people. But what I tend to notice generally, I don't know about Senegal, but the Gambia and in the social media fabric, there's a lot of negativity. I would like to appeal to my fellow countrymen that, look, we can only develop this country by ourselves. And let us be more positive. I mean, there are problems, and like in every country. I cannot finish without citing, for example, what we saw recently this past few days in Lagos, in Nigeria. The youth who are getting out, there have been protests on police brutality. But in general, in all our countries, this is a problem. There is youth unemployment. We're seeing the issues of the youth, taking the seas, going to Europe. It's because they don't have hope. It's not their fault. But all the same, it takes two to tango. The youth, some of them also are to be blamed. They are not ready to take up opportunities. There are opportunities in this country. I mean, I just gave an example. Let me give you a quick example. I buy some fruits from a lady who's disabled. She looks a bit Fulani, she looks a bit Fulani and sits somewhere in a corner. I've been buying fruits from her because I want to support her. But I have noticed that she's growing and she's got 2 kids. If that lady who's disabled sitting in a wheelchair can sell her fruits and make a living, I am appealing to our youth folks to stop dreaming about Europe, stop sacrifice and suicidal move by getting into boats and trying to think that Europe is paved with gold and silver. It isn't. There are opportunities in our continents. I have just told you that we import labor. So for us, what we are doing as employers in addressing the problem, we are setting up skill centers. Actually, we have signed up with the ITC, the International Trades, whatever it's called, to do a pilot project on skills training. Because we think that, look, we need to give these youth opportunities, but when we give them the opportunities, they need to be there ready to work. The hard fact is that on average, the average youth of today don't want to go through what I went through. By working with my hands at age 18, by sweating under the sun, by earning little and going the ladder easily. There's too much of this get rich quick. They must be ready to work with their hands. Life is tough everywhere. You are living in the West, you know how tough it is. Being in the West, even if you succeed and reach there, doesn't guarantee success. I think there are lots of opportunities in Africa, and Africans must believe in Africa, must be able to sweat hard. In order to succeed, I will tell you my last word, there's a formula to success. and it's made up of two words, and they are hard work and honesty. If you work hard and you are honest, most likely you will succeed with time. So on that, again, thank you very much, and please extend my regards and my appreciation to Mr. Marong for all the good things that you guys have been doing with SeneGambia. Best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Ndiaye. Will do. So mbokk yi dégg ngeen ko, Mr. Ndiaye nee na liggéey gëm sa bopp nekk ci dëgg moo mën a tax ñu jëmale SeneGambia kanam but Africa kanam. Opportunity am na Africa kon nañu nangu liggéey jëmale suñu dëkki kanam. Man maay da nekkoon seen présentatrice Ndaa Nkrumah ci sama plateforme SeneGambia State of Affairs. Jërë ngeen jëf ba beneen yoon.